Hello, Lakers Nation. My name is Trevor Lane, senior writer for LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers. This is the Lakers Nation newsfeed where we break down all the latest happenings in the world of the Los Angeles Lakers. And my oh my, do we have a show today? Rich Paul has a story come out on Sports Illustrated that greets us this morning with some amazing comments. We're going to be talking all about that and also all the latest rumors going on in the world of the Los Angeles Lakers. But first, quick shout out to our sponsors, Uptime Energy Drinks, how energy should feel. You can find them at 7-Eleven, GNC, and Amazon.com. Uptime Energy, how I'm awake at this point, given all these Lakers rumors. Also, betonline.ag, your home for online gambling. All you have to do, guys, is go to clnsmedia.com/LeBron. That's how they know that you came from us. And use the promo code CLNS50 to get a 50% bonus on your first deposit. Make sure you guys go check that out. Okay, so a ton to get to today. We've got Adrian Wojnarowski rumors. We've got all kinds of different things going on with Kevin Durant, everything going on with the Lakers' potential trade for Anthony Davis, all of that. But first, we got to talk about this Rich Paul story that just came out from Sports Illustrated. Amazing, amazing stuff. Some of the highlights. Rich Paul confirmed in this piece that they have informed the Boston Celtics that if they trade for Anthony Davis, then they will only stay for 1 year and then he'll hit free agency in 2020. Now that's huge. Obviously, this is something we've been hearing. This is something I've been talking about for a while, that if Anthony Davis sticks with this idea that he doesn't want to stay in Boston, and that's what they were rumored to have told the Boston Celtics last year at the trade deadline, if they stick with that, it's going to make it really tough for the Celtics to go trade for Anthony Davis, especially if Kyrie Irving is already planning to leave, which is what we've been hearing. It seems like Irving is most likely going to leave the Boston Celtics in free agency. So with that being the case, that means officially that the Celtics can't really put in a great offer for Anthony Davis because they know that for them, he is a 1-year rental and he won't re-sign with them in 2020. That's a big deal for the Lakers because look, back at the trade deadline, the threat of the Celtics offer this summer was the reason why the Pelicans, or one of the reasons why the Pelicans didn't take the Lakers offer, because they were expecting this big offer to be here this summer from the Boston Celtics. Now that's not there. A couple shows ago, I broke down why that's such a big deal. If you take a look at our previous episodes, you'll see that the Lakers not having to deal with the Boston Celtics offer out there means that they have a little bit more leverage. Okay, doesn't mean they're going to get a great deal. Doesn't mean they're not going to have to pay a lot if they want to trade for Anthony Davis. It's Anthony Davis. You're still going to have to pay quite a bit. The Pelicans, David Griffin is no fool. He's going to want a solid return. But the fact that the Celtics offer doesn't seem like it's going to be out there now, especially with Rich Paul confirming that they've told the Celtics they won't stay. That's a good thing for the Lakers' leverage. Now, Paul also goes on to rave about the Lakers. In fact, he calls the Lakers J-Lo at one point in this piece. Amazing stuff, but he talks all about how he sees the Lakers as this winning franchise and how they have this great history of big men. And look, it's music to the ears of Lakers fans. The one thing that is cause for concern is that Rich Paul does emphasize that no matter what, they're going to head for free agency in 2020. So no matter what happens, even if Anthony Davis gets traded to the Lakers, he will be a free agent in the summer of 2020. Now look, it makes more sense for him to become a free agent because he can get more money that way. Okay, he gets paid more. That's not necessarily him saying he's not going to commit to whatever team he goes to or anything like that. Okay, but still, that means he will indeed be a free agent and he will have the opportunity to go somewhere else. He's not going to come to the Lakers and then sign an extension. So, of course, that would be cause for concern if you trade for Anthony Davis. But hey, he can say, look, as long as you max me in free agency, then I'll stay. And, they can do things to assure the Lakers that it's all good and they can go ahead and give up major assets like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, or whatever it is they have to part with in order to get Anthony Davis. Okay, so huge story. Highly recommend you go check that out on Sports Illustrated. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other rumors that are going around the Lakers right now because it's rumor season. It's one of my favorite times of the year because there are all kinds of interesting stories about the NBA and, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers in general. So right now, the Lakers are the betting favorites, the massive betting favorites to land Anthony Davis. In fact, they are minus 500 right now in order to get Anthony Davis. Again, go check out betonline.ag for more on that. But Adrian Wojnarowski throws in this. as positive as all these stories that I've just told you about are, Rich Paul telling the Celtics to take a hike, saying he won't stay, having rave reviews of the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers being the favorites to land Anthony Davis, all that exciting stuff, Adrian Wojnarowski last night mentioned that the Lakers are not a consideration for the major free agents. So we're talking Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, more on KD in a minute. Okay, all of the top free agents, he says, they're not a major consideration for them. And he added in, ESPN did a mock draft, and Woj said the Lakers are in big trouble if they are making that 4th overall pick, because that means they haven't traded it in an Anthony Davis deal. So obviously that's a negative. That suggests that the Pelicans have a little bit of leverage in these negotiations, because they know that the Lakers don't have someone coming in July, that the Lakers aren't at the top of anyone's list right now in July. And so therefore, the Lakers have to get a deal done for Anthony Davis if they want to appease LeBron James and be able to put a championship team around him. They really need to get AD. So does that flip things a little bit? Yeah, maybe. Okay, gives a little bit more leverage back to the Pelicans. But here's the thing. And I want to talk about this. This is something that's been on my mind for a while. What if the Lakers land Anthony Davis before free agency? So the Lakers may not be at the top of anyone's list in free agency right now, but if they have Anthony Davis in hand, if they manage to pull a trade, or at least have the trade agreed upon, even if it hasn't been submitted and completely gone through, and we've gone through the salary cap and why that matters, why the timing of when the deal goes through matters. It may not actually go through until closer to August, because they may need the salary of that 4th overall pick in order to match contracts, so they can still go shopping in free agency. But if you've got a deal set for Anthony Davis ready to be triggered, does that then change the mind of some of the free agents who don't have the Lakers at the top of their list? This is something that's really important and something to consider when we're evaluating the deal. Okay, whatever happens, whatever the deal is that eventually comes down, if the Lakers do pull a trade for Anthony Davis, and you look at it and you say, gosh, that's too much. I didn't want to give up both Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. Okay, you also have to consider, what does this do to the Lakers' free agent prospects? So does landing Anthony Davis then mean that they get a Jimmy Butler, that they get a Kawhi Leonard, or that they get a meeting with Kawhi, that they get, say, a Kevin Durant, somebody like that? Does that change the outcome of free agency? Because if it does, then you've got to factor that into the trade too from the Lakers side of things. Not only are they getting Anthony Davis, but they're then also landing another star who wants to come team up with AD and LeBron. Something to consider. Not something that we know for sure. We don't know if it would change their fortunes. All we know is right now Adrian Wojnarowski is saying they are not a major consideration for the top free agents. But again, Anthony Davis could very well change that. So certainly something to keep an eye on. In addition to that, David Griffin, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, has said there's no timetable for the Pelicans to trade Anthony Davis, pushing back against the rumors that we had heard that the Pelicans want it done this weekend. Now look, a lot of this, I think, is negotiating through the media. It makes a ton of sense for Griffin to be saying they're in no hurry, they can wait, no big deal, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And to push back against the notion that they want it done by this weekend. Everyone knows that there is kind of a de facto deadline. Okay? Not really. Look, the Pelicans can wait all the way until February. They can wait until the trade deadline to trade Anthony Davis if they want. Okay? But the challenge is that the draft is coming up. The draft is coming up on June 20th. And you want to have the deal done before then, because the Pelicans want to be able to tell whoever they trade with, whether it's the Knicks, the Lakers, someone else, you would assume that they'd be getting a 2019 draft pick in the deal. Certainly if it's a deal with the Knicks, and certainly with the Lakers, they would be getting either the 3 pick or the 4 pick. The David Griffin wants to be able to go to the Lakers, say, okay, if they make the trade, and say, look, okay, we're going to make this deal, and with the 4 pick, we want you to select this guy. Because the Lakers aren't going to be able to trade for Anthony Davis until the league's calendar flips over to the 2019-2020 season, because that's when they're going to have cap room. That's when their assets are going to be free to move. And they may not even be able to complete the deal until the salary of that number 4 pick is actually on the books, which is 30 days after that player signs. So most likely the Pelicans would have to tell the Lakers, this is who we want you to pick for us. The Lakers can't just go ahead and give them that pick. And so if you're the Pelicans, you need time to figure out what you're going to do. You need time. If, say, you make a trade with the Lakers, you need to decide, do we want Darius Garland? Do we want DeAndre Hunter? Do we want Cam Reddish? Do we want Jared Culver? Who do we want them to pick? They need some time to sort through all that. And so that's why the rumor has been going around that the Pelicans want the deal done by this coming weekend, ideally, because then that would give them the remainder of the weekend plus a few days next week to kind of get their ducks in a row and figure out exactly who they want. Now, I'd fully expect the Pelicans to already be exploring their options in the draft should they land another pick, but still having that certainty might get them a sit down with some of these players, might even get, say, Jarrett Culver to come in for a workout or whoever to come in, DeAndre Hunter to come in for a workout if they're considering taking them with that 4th overall pick, which of course would be something that would be important for the Pelicans. But again, they don't want to put an artificial deadline on things. Look, Lakers fans know all too well what deadlines can do. Just ask Jim Buss. So that's a bad thing for the Pelicans to say, hey, this deal has to be done by this weekend, because that puts pressure on them to pull the trigger on something. So it's no surprise that David Griffin will be walking it back and saying, no, we don't actually have to pull the trigger. Everyone understands that they would ideally like to have a deal done. The question is, what threshold has to be hit in order for them to finally say, okay, done, and do the deal? That's what we're waiting to find out, because it does look like this is going to happen sooner rather than later. Adrian Wojnarowski also reports that the Lakers would be one of the teams interested in Kemba Walker should he decide to leave the Charlotte Hornets. Now, Kemba actually had an interview a week or so ago with Jared Weiss of The Athletic, in which he said that his priority was the Charlotte Hornets, which, look, makes a ton of sense. Kemba likes the area. He likes being where he's at. And the Hornets can also pay him a lot more and more years than anybody else can. He's actually eligible for a Supermax deal. Now, it's I want to say unlikely. It's probably ill-advised if they do offer him the Supermax deal. I mean, look, the Washington Wizards with John Wall have become a cautionary tale to what can happen if you offer a Supermax to a guy who isn't a top tier star. So if you're the Hornets, you may not want to give Kemba Walker all that money, which means maybe there's a little bit of an opening for someone else to get in there and get a meeting with Kemba. So according to Woj, the Lakers are one of the teams that is interested in Kemba Walker, and the Dallas Mavericks and New York Knicks are also interested. Now look, this is one of those seasons where I expect, like we joke about this, but I fully expect the Lakers to be connected to every top free agent. All of them. I expect them to be interested in all of them, because that's the position they're in right now. They need to improve the team. They need to go and get a top-level talent. And in order to do that, you may need to leave no stone unturned. You can't be picky at this point. Their front office situation is not appealing. We know that. We know that there's been a lot of disarray. There's a lot of uncertainty around the future of their front office. And so because of that, they're going to have to go out and really woo free agents. They can't afford to be picky with it and say, no, we only want Kawhi and that's it. Nobody else. We're not going to deal with anyone else. They can't do that. Okay, so them having interest in Kemba Walker makes a ton of sense. I also expect them to have interest in Kyrie Irving, in Jimmy Butler, in Klay Thompson, in any of the top free agents, Nikola Vucevic even, right? They're going to have interest in everyone. Okay, that's what I fully expect to hear. The Knicks having interest in Kemba Walker makes a ton of sense too. I think he'd be a great fallback for them should Kyrie Irving wind up going to the Brooklyn Nets. And, of course, the Dallas Mavericks. Look, Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, adding another piece like a Kemba Walker would be huge for them. So it makes a ton of sense for all those teams to be interested. I don't take the Lakers' interest in Kemba as a sign that Lonzo Ball is being traded. It certainly could happen, right? And in a deal with the Pelicans for AD, maybe it has to happen. Maybe the Lakers would need to part with Lonzo Ball. Mathematically, under the CBA, there is a way around that. There is a way to keep one of Lonzo or Ingram and still make a trade work for Anthony Davis and still have enough money to go spend in free agency. But it may be a situation where the Lakers decide to go ahead and ship out Lonzo Ball and then target Kemba Walker. Maybe that happens. I still think Lonzo and Kemba could play in the same backcourt, though, if need be. Also saw a rumor that the Knicks right now are concerned about giving up young players. And Mark Berman of the New York Post said the Knicks are the team that most needs to find a third team in the Anthony Davis trade. So that was the rumor that came out the other day, was that the Pelicans are looking for three things in a trade. They're looking for a current all-star, they're looking for a young player with all-star potential, and multiple first-round picks. Okay, the Knicks and the Lakers can both provide just two of those things. They can provide a young player with all-star potential, and they can provide multiple picks. So when you add those things together, that's not quite enough for the Pelicans. They want a current All-Star, which I question whether or not that's even doable. It's going to be tough, but the Lakers would have to go and find a third team to get involved. But from Berman's post here, it makes it sound like the Pelicans don't value the Knicks' young assets to the same degree as they do the Lakers' young assets, because he's saying the Knicks need a third team to come in and provide an all-star more than any other team, meaning maybe the Lakers have the pieces to get it done without necessarily landing a true bona fide all-star caliber player. And it makes a ton of sense. Personally, I would value Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Josh Hart above what the Knicks can offer. And we're talking Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Mitchell Robinson, players like that. All right, so that makes a ton of sense that the Knicks would find themselves in a more desperate position to go find another star player. Last thing I want to get to, Kevin Durant. So first of all, get well soon. Kevin Durant was terrible to see the Achilles injury for him in the finals. Could change a lot of things in free agency here. I mean, look, Knicks fans are besides themselves because they thought they were getting KD, and now everything's kind of up in the air. But everything we've seen, this rumor that's been going out around is that, and this is from David Aldridge, the Lakers, the Nets, the Clippers, and the Knicks are still interested in pursuing Kevin Durant, even though we know he has an Achilles tear. Who knows how long he'll be out? It's possible that Kevin Durant would miss the entire 2019-2020 season. Now, obviously, they would do everything they could to avoid that, and he could potentially come back during the season, but would he even be 100%? That's extremely unlikely. He wouldn't be 100%. So it's going to be a lot more of a risk, obviously, to go and pursue a Kevin Durant, but he's such a high-level talent that the Lakers, Nets, Clippers, and Knicks, the LA teams, and the New York teams would be interested in going after him anyway. Now, if you're going to give him a max offer, let's say you give him the full 4-year max, the Lakers would have to come up with some way to clear some cap space because they don't have enough to get to a 10-year max deal, which starts at about $38 million as compared to a 9-year or less max deal, which would be like guys like Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, players like that. That starts a little bit lower. That's just over $32 million. So the Lakers would have to try find some cap space if they were going to go after Kevin Durant and still give him a max deal. Again, it's a risk, but hey, it's Kevin Durant. He is one of the best basketball players ever. And so I could see the appeal of going after him, even though he's got this Achilles injury. So certainly something to keep an eye on. Everybody, look, it's rumor season. It's an exciting time of year. We've got the draft coming up in just over a week. We've got free agency starting up right after that, and the Lakers are right in the thick of things. Tons of exciting things going on. So make sure you keep it tuned right here to the Lakers Nation YouTube channel for more information on everything going on in the world of the Lakers, and head over to LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers. Till next time, my name's Trevor Lane. You can follow me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. See ya.